Live.
Welcome to the CrackBerry.com podcast for Thursday, October 26, 2017.
Hey, everybody. CrackBerry Kevin here, joined by Adam Zeiss and Blaze. We are excited to be here today to talk BlackBerry. You knew that was coming, right? Not a surprise?
Yeah.
Okay, good. If you were not here to listen to us talk about BlackBerry, then I suggest you quit listening. Unless you're, maybe if you stick around, you might love us and want to buy a BlackBerry by the end of the show. It has happened before, I'm sure.
It's true.
I promise it's going to happen again. So we're going to talk about some fun stuff today. For those watching in video, you're going to see me pop up right now. A BlackBerry Motion, the newly announced full touchscreen BlackBerry for BlackBerry Mobile, a division of TCL, made through the licensing agreement that came online late last year between BlackBerry and some partners around the world. Here it is. We're going to get to that, though. So before, though, we need to do our sponsored readouts for this amazing episode, because without our sponsors, we would still do this show anyways, honest, but, we appreciate sponsors when we get them. And we had so much love after our last episode that, and we had 100% utilization rate. Every single person who listened to the podcast went out and subscribed to our Thrifter mailer at thrifter.com. Apparently, they all went to mintsim.com and signed up for a new data plan and SIM plan with Mint SIM, which is a great MVNO in the US. Everybody apparently went to gamestash.com, GAMESTASH, and they signed up for the 14-day trial with GameStash. For those who don't know, it is a new, basically, subscription gaming service for Android devices, kind of like Netflix for Android phones. You get a catalog of over 300 or about 300 games that you can play. All the ads are removed, all the frickin' buying coins and stuff like that. You don't have to pay any more than your $4.99 a month if you choose to stay on board. Apparently it went wild. So I don't even know why I'm talking about this unless you're that new listener. You should check out all those sponsors. Again, that is Mint SIM, that is thrifter.com, and that is GameStash. And I'm going to tell you about a brand new sponsor because I'm going to start this company. I've just been so hopped up on life lately that, just crushing it in work and, is being a good husband for once, which typically I have not been a good husband or boyfriend or fiance for 14 years. And I've been total beast mode in the gym. And I was like, my nickname's been CrackBerry Kevin, CBK. And I was on the treadmill one day and I was like, how do I keep the CBK, but have something else that's motivating? So when I wake up in the morning, I just want to throw on the hat, and it's not this hat, but throw on a hat or my shirts or my workout clothes and just start with gusto and carry it through the day. Then I realized CrackBerry Kevin, CBK, and then these words, crushing it and beast mode, Crush Beast Kevin. And I was like, oh my God, Crush Beast. How does that not exist yet? Bang, 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 bang. I own crushbeast.com. I own the trademark on Crush Beast. We have Crush Beast Kevin. We have Crush Beast Life for now. And Adam, get on actually emailing those people to get the Crush Beast handles. I shouldn't even say these things until it's all right. We have a logo coming. We have T-shirts coming. We have hats coming. And for anybody who's looking for a little more motivation to get their life on track and wants to do it through some apparel and stuff, you're going to be able to buy Crush Beast gear, which will probably sponsor every CrackBerry podcast from now until the end of time. And if nobody buys it, I don't care. It's just for myself. But if you like the mission, it's going to be a daily dose of business, life, health, inspiration mixed with, buying stuff from our Crush Beast store.
I feel subscribe to the Crush Beast Life. I feel like if you stick with the CB logo, then anything I have with just the CB logo on it, I'll already own Crush Beast apparel.
It might work. Yeah, there's limited
time. I didn't even know it.
There's limited CrackBerry apparel out there. For those who listen to our 10th anniversary podcast, you'll know the reason why it took us a while, and it might have involved a trademark lawsuit. No, lawsuit's a harsh word. More like a trademark, legal. You can find my deposition online if you look.
It was a dispute. It was a dispute.
There's a dispute. We settled it. We love each other, but went back
differences or something.
Yeah, let's just say, we had to really persevere to be the world's amazingest fans of BlackBerry in the early days. But why go down a path like that when you can just stick around and, maybe in a week or two or month or something, you'll get Crush Beast stuff. But in the meantime, you can find us on the socials at Crush Beast Life. You can also find us at Crush Beast Kevin. I haven't actually done anything there yet. So this is all this is just brand new stuff happening. We're bringing you on the journey. And Crush Beast Gives is going to be our charity, because people who are Crush Beasts give back. So it's going to be basically we're taking what the Chive did, but we're putting less babes and sex into it, and we're going to make it more about like being awesome in life. And it's going to be the second best destination in the world online versus the first one. So if you'd like to, I haven't thought about it too much, but if you'd like to invest, you know where to hit me up. Kevin at Mobile Nations or Kevin at CrackBerry.com. Send me a tweet, DM. And we're going to blow it up huge. Bring BlackBerry's rocking it, Crush Beasting it. Boom, done. Okay, that's it for sponsors for this show. Maybe we'll tell people to skip ahead to whatever minute this is.
Good idea.
Well, actually, 5 minutes of sponsored reads is pretty typical for quality podcasts.
Especially with our sponsored reads. I mean, they're not exactly normal sponsored reads, clearly.
And we're nice enough to put them in the beginning and not in the middle someplace. So.
Yeah, it's so rude when they're in the middle. I listen to like... I love when they're in the beginning because like that's just when I like to listen to like 10 minutes of like ads. I'm also the guy who used to buy magazines to look at the ads. Like, who cares about the articles? So guilty. I like advertising, Subi. So let's, Blaze is in control of this episode because he crushed it so hard last episode with just taking the reins. But I want to talk about one thing before Blaze takes over, which is our CrackBerry meetup tour coming to the end of the year. So actually on Friday, I was a guest on the Pocket Now podcast, which was awesome and fun. We posted to CrackBerry, so hopefully some of you listening checked it out. And we talked about BlackBerry Motion. I actually had it on the show. We'll talk more about that later. And I teased that we're going to be doing a European CrackBerry tour. And I think I even teased we're going to be doing another Canada tour before the end of this year. And then we're going to pick it up, after the holidays again, after CES. I'm sure we'll get some more stuff going. So with the European tour, this is going to be awesome. I'm pulling up my spreadsheet here of, oh my God, my travel itinerary is ridiculous. But come November 9th, I'll be flying from Toronto to London, and we're going to be having a London CrackBerry meetup on Friday, November 10th. From there, it's going to be Frankfurt, Germany on November 14th. That's a Tuesday, followed by Prague on November 16th, followed by Paris on Saturday, November 18th. So this is going to be pretty epic. I'm going to be traveling. Actually, James Nieves, who many of you know, is going to be joining along from the BlackBerry mobile side of things. So that at the meetup events, he'll be there doing awesome device demos and things like that, while CrackBerry Kevin is schmoozing and talking to everybody, possibly drinking less than I used to at these things, but I'm sure I'll still be drinking a little bit and having a good time. And, we're going to be talking to press in all the cities we fly into and everything. So it's going to be, we looked at all the meetups we've done this year. We've been thinking about how to next level them, and I think we got it figured out. So we're really, really excited to do this trip. And we have there's a lot of BlackBerry fans on CrackBerry and a lot of BlackBerry users and fans in general in Europe. So really excited to be hitting these cities. I know there's many cities more that we're not hitting, but this gives us a little bit of an awesome head start there and some momentum going into the end of the year. And then I'm going to be home for, I'm going to be flying back from Europe. I'm going to be in the U.S. around U.S. Thanksgiving week, and then home for a day. And then we're going to do our Canada tour. So Canada, going to go start on the, I don't know what direction this is, depending on which way you're sitting. But we're going to start on the West Coast, flying into Vancouver. I'll probably fly in on a Sunday. Then we're going to be doing Monday night in Vancouver on December 4th, followed by Calgary, December 5th. That's the Tuesday. Going to Montreal for a Wednesday meetup on December 6th. Then going to Toronto for December 7th. That's the Thursday for another meetup there. And then we're going to be finishing on Friday, December 8th in BlackBerry's, birthplace of Kitchener-Waterloo, the K-Dub. And, that's always a little bit different. That's more like a BlackBerry reunion party of sorts. And thinking in December, it'll be a little bit like, the early holiday Christmas party of sorts. Yeah. So we're going to make that one the Friday night, get I'm sure lots of fans there, but lots of the old gang of people who, have been responsible for this brand in many ways over the years. And, have a good old time before flying home. And then hopefully I won't go anywhere until CES, which I booked that ticket. So I'll be in Vegas like January 4th to 11th. So I'm super excited for this event. I think with the Canada meetups, we're planning, I don't know if this is going to happen yet, but I think, we're making it happen. My goal is to have CrackBerry pop-up shops basically at the meetups too, so that you can actually come in and buy a KEYone or a BlackBerry Motion, maybe like a CrackBerry accessory bundle, get some special CrackBerry gifts along with it. So, you know, if you're waiting for like a special experience to buy your new BlackBerry, or maybe you own a KEYone already, and we're just going to convince you to buy a Motion also, this is going to be an awesome chance. I don't know if in Europe we'll make that happen, because in CrackBerry Canada, we're sort of set up for those things, or will be set up for those things. Europe, maybe not, although BlackBerry Mobile does have a European store now online where you can order online. So if we do, maybe in some of the markets, we can actually figure out a way to like, people could place their orders through there at the event, and then we can just like whoosh, hand them a phone. So I will see what we can do there. But either way, I think we have a strategy to next level this. And on the Canada tour, the next level, we're going to be bringing a special guest with us. He really needs no introduction. He is on this podcast right now, but Blaze, you will be with us at all the Canada events, which is awesome.
I thought I was going.
You are married with kids, and I never know, and you always start with no. So you can come to whatever you get permission to come to.
I was contemplating driving up to Montreal, but then I realized it was in the middle of the week, and I'm married, I have kids.
Yeah, so why are you giving me a hard time right now?
I understand that you don't appreciate family life and you don't like children. And
what do you mean I don't appreciate? I love kids. I love family life. I just,
Kevin's one of those people who loves children and he loves family life, but he likes to be able to go ahead and hand them back to you. I
love other people's children. I love my nieces and nephews. I appreciate everything. I just like to be extremely flexible, like a teen.
He likes to fill them up with candy, buy them toys, and then send them home.
Yeah, that's right.
But yeah, I'll be doing the Canadian one, and Adam, you are most certainly welcome to come to Montreal.
You should be, yeah. So it's gonna be fun. So I'm really looking forward to this. So we are gonna start announcing all this on the site and social and everything over the next 24 or 48 hours. We'll do the European tour announcements first. We'll do the Canada ones maybe next week. But if you're listening to this, the dates. You can rewind and listen to again. Blah 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 blah. Stay tuned. Please come. If you were at our first meetups, especially in Canada, please come back, bring friends. Another thing we're going to do to next level it a bit is start a bit earlier. So I think with some of the locations we're picking, like in Toronto and Montreal, we're going to be kind of a little more downtown, probably starting like 4 o'clock, so we can catch people kind of as they finish up their work day, come check it out, have some drinks on us, etc., play with the phones. And then for anybody who's like the harder core fans who might have to travel in from the suburbs, etc., we're going to be going all evening too. So we're going to start a little earlier, try to catch business crowd, do everything else. And, we're trying to do a better job too of like talking to the press. So, last time we just kind of showed up at the meetups and we did them. But this time we're hyper organized. I'm looking at my spreadsheet here. So we're going to be, trying to even, when I land in a city, we're going to try to like talk to some of the local media, invite some of the media to the events a little bit earlier so they can like play with the phones if they haven't seen them, chat with us, that kind of thing. So we're gonna we're going all out. We're making this thing rock and roll, which is fun. So with that, let's
rock and roll this.
Let's rock and roll this. That's 14 minutes of intro. Blaze, the show is yours. Take it away.
So
Adam, you just gotta look good and smile. You look fantastic. Very svelte.
I'll keep it on track. Don't worry. I got this.
I'm just liking his shirt.
Thanks.
I know it's a Back to the Future shirt.
Yeah.
Honestly, we've kept on track in terms of the podcast, so there hasn't exactly been a ton of news that actually filtered out since our last podcast, but we announced BlackBerry Mobile announced BlackBerry Mobile announced a whole bunch of new markets for the BlackBerry Motion. So pre-orders have gone up at Carphone Warehouse in the UK. It's coming to Germany, Austria, Switzerland. The Netherlands has pre-orders that are open now. As I said, Germany has Media Market and Saturn, which are open for pre-orders. So all of those, if you're interested in picking up a BlackBerry Motion, all of those places have pre-orders right now. And anybody who ordered from Axiom in the UAE has already actually started receiving their BlackBerry Motions. Like there are people in the CrackBerry forums starting today, that have received their BlackBerry Motions and they're posting them. Yeah.
What?
Surprise.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I gotta so we gotta talk about motion stuff in a bit because I didn't realize that was happening.
Yeah, totally.
Oh.
There's people in the forums that are like, I just unboxed my Motion today, and blah 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 blah.
What the heck? Okay. So I got some videos we got to post. Kevin's got like 5 things I'm loving about the Motion.
Yeah.
I did well, let's go through some of the news, then we'll talk Kevin's Motion experiences.
Yeah, well, I mean, that was essentially the list of the pre-orders. So if you guys are interested,
so Europe has obviously announced a lot of markets, but this is still a bit like people are still a little in the dark of like, we know we said it's a limited launch, so not every country's getting it, but
yeah,
North America it hasn't officially been announced yet, right? For everywhere, or that's still coming? I'm like, literally, I need to pay more attention to.
No, nothing in terms of North America has officially been announced as of yet. There's, like I said, there is the Netherlands, Germany, Austria, Switzerland, the UK. And so for North America, we're still waiting to see whether or not it will make its way to Canada or the US. So
I've been assuming it'll be available in Canada by the time we roll through town on our meetups.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm making that assumption without actually.
Yeah, I mean, like, why are we doing a Canadian tour? I mean,
if not, black editions for everyone.
Right, exactly. The other thing that came up is that Incipio has basically started making a lot of new cases for the BlackBerry Motion. So I know a lot of people like to make sure that they have cases and screen protectors and all that stuff ahead of time before they actually have the device. I know that I had cases for the BlackBerry KEYone well ahead of time too. So Incipio has 2 new cases that are out for those. I think they're on sale now, or at least one of them is on sale now. So you can check that out. And that's pretty much it for Motion news at this point.
Cool. What, you want to go through other news, and then we'll come back to talking like a little bit Kevin's impressions of Motion and some of the fun I've been having?
Yeah, absolutely. The other thing to basically hit on in terms of news and everything like that for devices is the KEYone is still essentially rolling out. TELUS has begun offering the BlackBerry KEYone in Space Black. That is identical to the AT&T version.
Who all has black editions in Canada? Is it only online, no carriers, or how's that working?
There are no, the actual black edition with the additional storage and additional RAM is available from like Staples, Walmart, Blue Shop, Amazon, all of those places, but it's not actually available.
We're getting it Canada again. We'll have it hopefully soon, next week or 2.
Absolutely. So that's the black edition. You can go buy those online, unlocked. They'll ship them out to you.
But TELUS has Space Black. I find it so weird that they just don't go black edition. Like they must make these decisions like months and months and months in advance.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this one was laid out well ahead of time. Like I'm pretty sure the agreement for the Space Black was probably laid out even before the black edition got announced. So
it would make sense, right?
Otherwise, why even bother with the Space Black version, right? But I mean, the other variable there is that when you do look at the black edition does cost more. So it does make financial sense, I guess you could say, for carriers to go ahead and offer the lower cost device, even if it's only by like $50, right?
Right.
Because people can get it for cheaper at that point. They can offer it as a $0 down device, and there's a contract, and there's people out the door with a brand new phone, right? So that's the financial side of things, I guess, that comes into play too. The other thing, BlackBerry 10 got a random update, just totally random. It's basically they pushed
it's a random BlackBerry. So is this a security thing related to something or what?
No, I mean, as far as we can tell, going through the files, because everybody tears down the files each time a new operating system comes out to find out when it was made and everything like that. They've had according to the files, BlackBerry has had this operating system since July sitting on their servers and just never pushed it out anywhere. So now it's actually now it's just randomly pushed out.
Can you did you email John Chen did they give any update or any notes?
Nothing. Just
do you want me to send an email? Here, you guys keep talking. I'm going to send an email right now.
Call him right now.
I'm not going to call him.
Hey, John, what was in this latest update that you sent out? Because we'd really like to know.
just real quick, just curious.
Okay, I'm working on it.
Maybe
he can write a blog post. He blogged for us earlier this year. Like
maybe.
Sure.
The other thing that I know I railed on BBM last podcast for not working properly, and then after that, like 2 days after the podcast, they sent me an email letting me know exactly what was going on with the situation. So BBM is technically back to a working order. So everybody who is still using BBM, if your account is still messed up, make sure that you check out the blog post on CrackBerry to find out the exact process. Basically, if your BBM is still not working, then you have to reach out to BBM to go ahead and have it corrected. But for the most part, the majority of people should already have everything taken care of. What else happened? Oh yeah, BlackBerry launched 2 new cybersecurity services at the Security Summit in London. The Security Summit, I think, wrapped up yesterday. So that took place. There's another BlackBerry Security Summit. In case anybody is wondering, like, why wasn't there like a massive amount of coverage or anything like that out of that one? They're having 2 BlackBerry Security Summits this year. They held one in London. They're going to hold another one in New York. So I imagine there will be more information floating about when the New York one happens. I think the New York one happens somewhere around mid-November. But basically, BlackBerry announced 2 new cybersecurity services that they were launching. One of the security services basically falls in line with some of the personal information requirements that businesses are going to be held accountable for in 2018. So, like, you have to meet a certain requirement to be able to go ahead and handle personally identifiable information. And what BlackBerry is going to be doing is basically being the advisors in those situations. So if you are a business and you need to fall under this criteria, BlackBerry will offer consulting services to be able to go ahead and help you meet that criteria. The other thing that they announced that we actually heard about quite a while ago was it didn't pan out exactly as to the rumors. We had previously heard that BlackBerry was sort of like working on like an antivirus system for cars to be able to go ahead and control like the security mechanisms within cars and stuff like that. So like if your car gets hacked, well, BlackBerry was working on a security system to be able to say, okay, someone is hacking your car, we're going to shut this down and take care of it. So it didn't necessarily pan out in that full aspect of the rumors, but BlackBerry did launch automotive security, cybersecurity services. So basically they have partners on board that will be able to go ahead and take a look at the diagnostics of the car and everything like that and send information over the air. All of that stuff is going to be applicable.
Blaze, can I assign like a story to you?
I mean,
I can't keep track of all the things BlackBerry is doing these days, and I don't actually know even where to start. I would love like an article. You don't have to do it tomorrow, but like into the end of the year that basically says like, here's what you need to know about the new BlackBerry, and it just kind of goes like, number 1, they're doing this, 3 sentences, 2 this, 3 this, 4 this, and like just a link for more info. Yeah. Because literally when it comes up, I'm like, they're doing a lot of stuff, connected car, IoT, da-da-da-da-da. But I literally am not tracking every detail because the universe has just changed so much from my perspective. And I'd like us to even talk about it on these shows. And I'm like, I need like help getting started. So,
yeah, we've actually wrote that article already. It needs to be updated.
At the top.
It does need to be somewhat updated, but everything that we put into that article previously still is all applicable. It's just that they've advanced.
Wait, I didn't write that article, did I? Because then I'm going to feel embarrassed.
Yeah, you did.
What?
Well, I'm gonna break one of the.
Could you stick my name on it, but you wouldn't?
Move on.
I'm gonna break it.
Go ahead, next step. Let's go.
Yeah. So basically, the next item on the list is BlackBerry pushed out a bunch of new updates for the BlackBerry Hub, the Task app, DTEC, all that stuff. So if you're using a BlackBerry Android device, make sure that you get all of your apps updated because a lot of the stuff that you're using on your devices get bug fixes and new features and stuff like that. So make sure that all that gets updated and taken care of. And that's pretty much it.
Love it. That was I feel like, you know, if you watch Saturday Night Live and they have Weekend Update, I feel like you're that guy for the CrackBerry podcast, or those guys. It's just like boom, boom.
We do the update first, and now this leaves you like a good 20 minutes to do your Kevin monologue.
Right.
And it's perfect.
I love
now
it.
you have like 5 minutes to talk.
You know, I feel like maybe by mid 2018, this is going to be a good show. Like
Sure. Didn't we say that in like 2008?
No, but this time I believe it. Like I feel like that we have the makings. People might just listen to us for our entertainment value, Adam, and not just.
I really hope that's what it is, because I don't know that there's a whole lot else coming out of the show.
Well, you know, we should do more interview guests. We need to line up interviews, and I put that on Blaze to do. Like,
I
just
feel like we
line up
try to do that
guests
all the time, because we get the people that complain on Twitter that tell us how terrible our shows are, and then you ask them if they want to come on the show, and nobody ever.
No,
does.
but
So
I don't mean.
You mean like real
members
people that
of the
people want to listen to?
No, well, those people aren't real people. They're real. I just mean people like, you know, let's get somebody from BlackBerry Mobile on. Let's get somebody from BlackBerry on. Let's get John Chen on here. Like, let's raise our bar a little bit. Come on. People are obviously sick of us a little bit.
Can't argue that.
Unless they're crush beasts, and then they appreciate everything.
I think that's what we're just going to end up rebranding the CV podcast to the Crush Beast podcast.
Well, there will be a Crush Beast podcast. That'll be separate, though. Yeah.
I feel like it should be together, co-branded.
Yeah.
CBTV.
So, yeah, Crush Beast. It's
It'll eventually be good. It'll just take us 12 years to get here.
I do want to confirm, though, Blaze, if you check your email, I CC'd you on it. We did email for clarification of what that BlackBerry 10 update was about. and while you were talking, I also set up I emailed my local dealership so I can take my Tesla in tomorrow to get the winter tires on, because it snowed in Winnipeg tonight. And I went to the gym at 6:30 in the morning. I'm like, why do I have to clean 2 inches of snow off my car? It was kind of annoying. But here's what I love about where I live. Went to the gym. You know, do you know what topic doesn't come up?
BlackBerry?
The weather. Oh. It's just like we don't call it like it's just a Thursday. It's not, oh my God, it's sleeting and snowing and freezing and it's the end of the world. No, it's just like, hey, what's up? It's Thursday. If this was New York, it would be like, city's on shutdown, everybody work from home today. Then I'm just like, whatever. Just another day. We're used to it. All right, BlackBerry Motion time?
Yeah.
So I've got a few. Okay, let's start with some backstories on content. Keep it locked to CrackBerry, because there's some videos coming. I recorded when I was in Miami, actually. I got my hands on one of these guys, and we have the video crew we work with, who did a lot of our Talk Mobile stuff back in 2013. They're based out of there. So we had some fun one day and rented like a nice Airbnb, so we'd have a nice set. And I shot a handful of videos, one of which is kind of like a 5 things I'm loving about the Motion post, or a video topic, blah, 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 blah. Because I don't want to do a review in that until everybody in the media gets their review units and all that stuff. So just kept it very high level. But that's a really, that's an editorial, Kevin talking for a few minutes video. We have a couple cuts of it. We have like a 10-minute version, which I probably won't post right away. We'll post like the 4-minute version, which is much more watchable. But then I did a couple of tests with it, which included a IP67 test. So, this is a water-resistant phone. So I put that to the test.
Is it Kevin showering with the phone? Please say no. Please say no. Oh my God.
No, it is not Kevin showering. However, that does not mean there's not Kevin shirtless and like, oh boy. Kevin may not be wearing all his clothes, but I am not in a shower. Yeah. I feel like it's worse than a shower scene.
Oh boy.
So that is
fantastic.
Also did a
scratch. At least you got a heads up, Adam.
We also did a scratch test video, which I've been doing this like religiously now. So I just take my keys and reef into it, and literally I don't know exactly what a nano crystal blah blah coating is, but I do know if I pick up like this BlackBerry Bold 97 like that, yeah, it's scratched. So it's a very scratch resistant screen. And I did a bend test with it to see what would happen, and like I could just do it here. And I'm very confident it won't break, because I spent about 5 minutes or 7 minutes on camera trying to bend this thing one day. And eventually the only way I broke it, because I'm like, I have to break this thing or else people are going to call me a wimp. I took it to like the arm of a metal chair and reefed on it as hard as I could. And eventually I got it to break. So it passed the bend test with flying colors. If that doesn't, stand up, I'll be in shock because it took me forever to break one. And this one is a little nicked now because I beat the hell out of it so much, possibly including throwing it off some second-story roofs and missing where I was aiming, and then like it hitting concrete and stuff. So I've got like a tiny nick. I don't, but no screen breakage, no anything. This thing was like bouncing around like insane. So there's some videos coming that are pretty fun that'll hit the CrackBerry channel on YouTube, and we'll blog them and throw some teasers on social. You can see I've mirrored some people think my home screen is brilliant. Some people think it's insane because I run a lot of folders and icons. I'm just not a guy who likes a lot of stuff on the additional windows. I love how easy it is to set up Android devices because I just like bump and tap and it sets up in 2 minutes. There's my Black Edition. I think having used it a bit, and I will say, like, I haven't fully switched over to this guy yet. I think I'm going to, maybe this weekend, I'll do a full switch over. I've still been rocking KEYone because, honest to God, I'm just addicted to the physical keyboard again. Something I never thought would happen because I had, last few years I had moved on to touchscreens, and I've been using the KEYone since February. And, like I've said it many times on the show, it took me 2 days to kind of get used to it again, probably 5 days to start to really like fall in love with it. And then, a month later, it's like I go back and I pick up a touchscreen phone, and, obviously you like the screen size, you like the real estate and that, but then I start doing work as I'm out during the day and everything. And I'm like, oh, just give me my keyboard. Cause I'm just like, bang, 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 100% authority and dexterity and just, crush beasting it on the workload. Adam's shaking his head. I'm just trying to see how it flows in sentences. It's like I'm Googling it, I'm crush beasting it, Uber it, crush beast it. I think it works. We'll see. So I've still been using this, but I'm going to go hard over to it. But there's a few things right away I could tell you. One, I think performance feels it's very much a sibling device, I think, to the KEYone when you look at it from a specs perspective, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And all that. So I think performance seems very similar. I like that it has that home screen button at the bottom. I think it's just an easy way to use the Android OS with it. Some people don't see how the buttons light up in that, but beside the buttons, like once you push the button, you can see there is your back button and your multitasking button there, and then obviously the home button takes you back, sort of like the circle on the KEYone. So it's a very comfortable device to use. I think what's interesting is that, a lot of people think of BlackBerry just as the keyboard company, and it obviously is, but a lot of people like touchscreens. I know one thing, say for people who are on iPhones right now, and you see Apple coming out with like the iPhone 10 with swiping, that's a feature some people are going to love, and many people are going to just hate because there's something so simplistic about home. That button, you push it, you're back to home, right? And I know my wife, for example, she will not use an iPhone with swiping, right? She will be like, give me a home button at the bottom that I love, because it's just that no effing around dexterity. That sounds crazy for BB10 people, of course, because they like swiping a lot, and that was a big thing there. But I think the home button on this will actually win over some people where, things have gone more away from that, and there's a confidence. So it's really easy. And I like it too from just a grip perspective. Like, it's there, you feel it. I don't know. It's good. And I really hate when the fingerprint sensors are on the back. And I'm not convinced, that not having a fingerprint sensor is the way to go just yet. I mean, maybe that's true, maybe that's not, but I like that it's a fingerprint sensor and everything. Battery life, I have been using it, like I said, it hasn't fully been my daily driver to give it any sort of, how amazing is it? But I think all indications are it is going to exceed the KEYone on battery life, which is mind-blowing because the KEYone already has such good battery life. So I think that's awesome. Camera, I've done some photos, seems pretty solid. I haven't done a scientific, KEYone camera versus motion camera. So I don't know, but I think it seems like it should be solid. I love the private locker for photos. Adam's shaking his head already because he knows what I'm going to say. Did we say it on the last podcast already?
Yeah,
we did.
We alluded to it and talked about it a little bit, but
yeah,
so that people just thought that's what you were going to use it for, but now you're basically saying this is exactly what I use it for.
I exactly use it for inappropriate, well, not inappropriate photos, just photos of myself that
Or inappropriate.
Or, you know, that are, I don't necessarily want to hand the phone to somebody and be like, here, look at my photos from my vacation. And then they land on some photos that are just not ideal. So yeah, and for anybody who's listening who doesn't know what I'm talking about, basically when you're in the camera app, if you tap the regular shutter button on the screen, that's a normal photo. But if you tap the home key and take a photo with it, it actually puts it into a private locker, which you can see here represented by this little lock. And then to get into it, you actually have to use your fingerprint to open that private storage space and actually see that photo you took. So I don't know. I think that's awesome, right? To me, that's, you know, BlackBerry's doing some features that are actually software differentiation that are very related to the BlackBerry brand. You know, I've talked before about how I love the private privacy mode, privacy shield. What's it called? I don't even know.
Privacy shade.
Privacy shade. I call it the privacy screen. That's software driven,
Yeah,
where I can like black out my screen and drag my finger around to view parts of the screen. Like I actually use it. I leave it set as my convenience key now, which seems weird, but I like it. It's just a cool feature that makes it's very BlackBerry. Other things I'm liking with the phone. Obviously, the name I like. I think Motion is cool. It's motivated me to get my skinny game on, my Fresh Piece game on, because you can't have a phone called BlackBerry Motion and then just be a sedentary couch sitter. It would just it would feel wrong. So I like the name a lot. It's motivating in a lot of ways. It also, I think it represents that lifestyle aspect of the phone. I mean, this is the first BlackBerry that you can dunk in water and you're going to be okay. And it seems durable. You know, like I think I said on a previous podcast. I mean, I think I said this a little bit on the Pocket Now podcast on Friday. You know, one of those things I like about BlackBerry, and I call it the Kevin test, is, you know, I should be able to close my eyes or be blindfolded. You should put the phone in my hand. I should be able to go like this and be like, that's a BlackBerry. And, you know, the KEYone totally passed that test. You pick that thing up and you're just like, it's dense in a good way. Obviously, the keyboard kind of gives it away. But, you know, rubberized texture on the back, you're like, feels quality. That's a BlackBerry. You know, with the D-Techs, when we talked about those earlier this year, you know, because I took I was kind of late to the game getting a D-Tech 60, but I just felt like it didn't feel BlackBerry enough. You know, it was a little too thin and light, a little too didn't have the texture on the back. It just didn't feel like it wouldn't have passed the test. If you passed it to me, I would have been, I don't know what this is. And I think the Motion is it's got the feel, like it's got that textured back that gives it that feeling of like, okay, it's BlackBerry-esque. I still think there's something more. Like I don't want to say this is 100%. Yeah, they crushed it on that feeling. I feel like it's there, like more than we've seen in a while. Like this is, I mean, maybe we talked about it before, so I don't know. I don't know. People are gonna be like, you guys keep repeating yourselves on this podcast, but it feels like a nice follow up to like a Z30, right? In that sort of BlackBerry lineage. You know, just size wise, weight wise, like it feels good, and it feels BlackBerry, and it looks it too as you kind of look at it. So I've seen on the comments, some people absolutely love the look of this thing. Some people are like, it's too much chin at the bottom and that, and I'm like, you know, given some of the stretching things to the edge we've seen this year, you know, maybe you could say it looks more like a phone that was designed, you know, built for 2 years ago or a year ago versus 2017 going into 2018.
Yeah.
But, you know, I've said before, I think if BlackBerry's building a touchscreen, they got to lean into not doing what everybody else is. They need to stand up for utility and durability and security and battery life. And we've seen from our surveys on CrackBerry, that's what a lot of the fans want. And, you know, it's going to be interesting to see as this goes to market, how many people go for this versus a KEYone. And, you know, I know there's a lot of people who are just like, yeah, you know, I love a keyboard, but I'm a touchscreen person now. So like touchscreen BlackBerry, I'm all over, not necessarily over the KEYone. And there's a lot of people who are like, just give me the KEYone. It's got give me that keyboard back, right? And I actually had a dinner party on Tuesday night with some friends who came over. And it was funny. It was like a KEYone dinner party though, because literally there was like five KEYone owners there, and not people I bought them for, gave them to, because I'm trying to be cheap this year. And they'll love it, right? And they just, they're like, they genuinely love the phone. And I think that's what's made me, and continues to make me so excited this year is, back in January when I picked up that KEYone prototype, I was like, yeah, like this is it, right? Like this is awesome. And that was for me though. So I was still kind of like cautiously optimistic that others would feel the same way. And I continue to see it just gain momentum as people actually use it. They genuinely love the phone. And that bodes, I think, really well, right? Because that hasn't been happening in the past couple of years, right? It was, there's people who love BB10, but they're bitter about the lack of apps and support and the dwindling, where it was down that declining path. And KEYone is like, yeah, BlackBerry is solid, and this is an awesome phone. And, even on the podcast last week on Friday with Pocket Now, they said, it's like, look, I finally have a phone I can recommend again to my dad, and it's a BlackBerry. Like, he's been using a cheaper, whatever, Samsung phone, no real love for it, no passion. He doesn't want a crazy, expensive iPhone. He doesn't want this delicato, more Samsung-y thing. Like, he gets a phone, he wants it. It's a tool, whatever. He wants it. He doesn't need the top of the line, most expensive. And all of a sudden, this is like a phone to recommend. So, I think it takes time to get these messages across, but super, super motivating to see that that's the case. And, again, I think on the Pocket Now podcast there, obviously we've been living in it this year, but it was neat to see their take of just how well, things have progressed, right? Like for us, when we're living in it so tight, look at the good things and we probably bring them down a step, and we look at the bad things and we make them bigger than they are. So, but for them, when they're on the side a little bit and looking at everything, they're like, yeah, the screen issue, yeah, that was, that sucked, but they dealt with it so quick and they fixed it. And for us down here, it was like, or in the CrackBerry forums, it was like, oh my God, the end of the world, it's, doomsday. But in reality, it was a tiny blip. And in retrospect, it was like a win, because it happened shitty right away, boom, and maybe they didn't fix it in 24 hours. There's a little bit more time, but the actual issue got dealt with in a really, really quick manner when you think about it from a corporate perspective. And then, for them on the sidelines too, watching, all the meetups and things we've been doing this year, all that sort of kind of grassroots groundswell happening, they're just loving it. So I don't know, it's going to be a fun end. 2017 definitely going down as probably one of the most memorable years of my last decade. And that's a decade of CrackBerryness for all of us, right? So, Kevin, monologue over.
Krusty did it.
All right. 5 minutes to spare. Good job.
I think let's wind it down. I mean, I got nothing left to say. It's
thanks for listening. Talk to you next one. Bye.
Yeah.
Cool. That was fun. So travel schedule though, and podcast schedule, I think the reality is I travel come Halloween on October 31st. I'm going to California for a few days for a conference, because Kevin's got to stay on top of the digital media publishing industry to make sure we all have incomes and stuff like that for years to come, hopefully. So yeah. So I'm in that mode for a bit, and then I'm home, and then I'm pretty much off to Europe. So depending, maybe I can do something from there, but between time zones, hotel bandwidth, et cetera, I might not be around. So I think you guys should just stay on top of it, if you want, or wait for me. Bring on some guests.
It'd
be awesome. And, and from there, it's going to be, well, we'll have one. I'm going to go to the States, but I'll be set up there where I can do something good. Maybe right before U.S. Thanksgiving, we could do something. Talk about Black Friday. Hopefully there's some Black Friday KEYone deals, that kind of thing happening.
I mean, obviously, to set a time on it or anything like that would be pretty much impossible at this point. But I don't think we're going to go all of November without actually having a podcast, or at least two. So, yeah. I mean, it's one of them things. With that in mind, you said that you're going away on Halloween? Do you have
Halloween, I fly.
Yeah. Do you have any contests or anything like that coming
Well,
up?
I think we need to do. Yeah, I want to do like a good old like CrackBerry blog post style. No tricks, just treats Halloween giveaway. I would love to do. I'll do something on Instagram because it's my favorite social channel these days. It's interesting because I'm still on BBM channels, and I get a couple comments like, "Why don't you do everything on BBM channels? Because that's your audience." And I'm like, no, it's not. It's funny, BBM channels we've seen, like just like BBM, I just continue to see it decline. So if I post stuff there, it gets like some views, but on Instagram, it's not that just like I think 20,000 followers. But the thing with the way Instagram works is it's not just your followers who see your stuff. Like Instagram's algorithm will kick in and show your content to way more people.
Yeah.
So a lot of the stuff I've posted recently, and I've got some nice motion photos and stuff on there now. Like, yeah, the 20,000 people who follow me see it, but then Instagram will go show it to another 250,000, 300,000 people on top of it. And that's awesome, right? Like BBM channels never had that built in. It was very much like you subscribe, almost like an RSS feed. Those people follow it. And it's like, yeah, they have their featured page, but that was like featured channels. It was never designed to like take a piece of content as a creator that I put out there and like blow it up to tons more people than
it's a closed system. So you're stuck in there.
Yeah. So like for me, just to address that question, I'm like, there's, I'll post some stuff there, here or there, but like Instagram is really the best social media platform right now, period, for the kind of stuff we're doing beyond the sites, right? So I think, and it's interesting because I've really been like paying attention this year, again, as Kevin learns digital media landscape. And, last year Snapchat was all the rage, but Instagram freaking caught them on the story implementation and everything. So Snapchat's still popular with, I'd say, more of the youngins when it comes to demographic. Instagram is spanning a much broader demographic. Stories is working quite well when you use them. And I think when I travel, I'm going to do, way more stories. And, those photos you post do really well. And if you want to go live, you can go live too. So I'm going to really use that a lot over the next month as we have some fun at the meetups and traveling. And I think one idea I had, though, is I think when I fly to Toronto and go like to London and that, I'm going to do like an Instagram story where I basically start with a full charge in Canada, 100% battery life on the Motion, and then we'll see how long I can stretch it out to. So like every time I post an update, I'll like put the battery life indicator on it, and we'll do like a motion challenge, like battery life challenge. And so it'll be like a day in the life, but I bet it's going to be more like 2 days in the life with that battery. And if I turn it off on the flight, that's going to save some time too. It's going to be like maybe 2.5 days. It's going to be awesome.
Totally.
So I think that's a good idea. And Adam is saying, let's shut her down. Everybody,
wrap it out.
Thanks for listening. You can follow, read crackberry.com for latest news, announcements, some editorials. Contests coming up, giveaways. CrackBerry on YouTube for some videos that are going to be live soon. CrackBerry Kevin on Instagram, because that's kind of our, official channel for CrackBerry. It's more of a person thing than a site thing. And, Twitter if you're hardcore, like that stuff. And I don't really like Twitter. It's too distracting to the workday.
I gave up on all my social channels, so we'll talk about that next time.
Okay. No, it's good.
I don't think you really did. I mean, I can still hit you up on Twitter whenever I want.
Yeah, but I don't have any apps on my phone.
And thanks to our sponsor, CrushBeast. There's not yet a website. There is CrushBeast Kevin with probably 0 followers, so you can be the first to follow. It's going to be huge. CrushBeast Life, CrushBeast Gives, Twitter, Instagram. We're working on getting just CrushBeast on Twitter and Instagram. Adam, you got to work on that all afternoon until we have it. You got to there's people just squatting on the accounts, just like DM them and stuff and get it. And if you're listening to this, do not screw it up because I will be upset. We can do this.
CrushBeast Barrel.
Thanks, guys.
Boom. It's coming.
Safe travels, Kevin.
Peace. Love you guys all. Thank you. That was the funnest, quickest podcast ever. And we are out.